very happily married. We lived in a beautiful home. We had an amazing family, 6 kids, and we were super involved in church.
In 2006, we moved to Arizona, and I began working for a national legal organization. Everything was going fantastic. But at some point, I opened the door to alcohol abuse.
One morning, we were waiting for our guests to arrive for a Bible study, and the coffee was brewing and the coffee cake was out on the counter, and Brian pulled me into the bedroom.
I was living a double life, and it was killing me. So what did I do? Did I repent and turn back to God? No, I rejected God. I confessed to my wife, Donna, that I had been unfaithful, and I left. I just left.
After that, we had a period of about 2 years during which we tried very hard to reconcile. But Brian's issues had escalated beyond the point where it was possible for us to do that. And so I made the decision to divorce him.
After our divorce, I went into a major downward spiral of darkness, and my drinking increased to an epic proportion. I
had 6 kids at home, 6 to 16 years old, and it was very, very difficult.
It was just a miserable, horrible existence. I had no hope for the future.
Over the period of the next 5 years, God did such a deep work in my heart. He showed me really what the cross means. He showed me that forgiveness is the deepest act of humility. And for the first time, I understood my own salvation. And then he convicted me that I should be praying for Brian.
In December of 2016, my wife, Donna, who was my ex-wife at that point, secured a place for me at the Phoenix Dream Center.
I dropped him off on Friday night, and on Saturday, the Lord completely delivered him and set him free.
God stepped in when I had no faith, to the point where in the spring of 2017, he began to restore my relationship with Donna.
In February of the following year, I was at the Dream Conference, and the Lord spoke very clearly to my heart that he wanted to reconcile our marriage. I was not ready for that, but I wrote it on my card and I marched up to the mountain, and I told the Lord that if he would just continue to do the work that he had begun in my heart, this work of forgiveness, this work of healing, that I would step out in faith and have the courage to reconcile with Brian.
I continued in the program. The first 6 months you can't have a phone. I only saw Donna once a week on Sunday at church services. But then the next 6 months I had more freedom and we saw each other more.
When Brian and I started talking again in early 2017, the Lord made it very clear to me that this was not a path to friendship or a path to co-parenting, that the purpose was to remarry. We didn't know how we were going to get there. We knew we were going to just have to trust the Lord to get us there one step at a time.
Between 2017 and 2020, God was restoring our relationship, restoring me. So when we began to reconcile, we had no idea that it was going to take from 2017 until 2020 for us to get remarried. But in my mind, it was actually like a blink.
Yeah, it's really true that God does exceedingly and abundantly more than you could hope for or imagine, right? I mean, in the darkest times, I never imagined. It just seemed like everything was over, right? The dreams were smashed.
Yes.
Everything was ruined. How could this possibly be resurrected again?
And since that time, God has knitted our hearts together like they've never been knitted together before. We have such an intimacy now that we never had.
This church had my back in so many ways, and I cannot even say how grateful I am for that.
And we're just hoping that our testimony can encourage other people who may be in a similar situation to just seek God, humble themselves, and allow God to restore.